So let's talk about this right 1 second for a minute. Fate Saga Winx or Fate Winx Saga Season 2. So I'm going to touch upon many things: the characters, the story, the pacing, and overall how it was. The rating straight up, I don't know what I gave the first one. I'll say this one is like a 7. Watchable if you've seen the first one. If you're jumping into this one, you might give it a 6 or a 5. But if you're keeping off from the previous season, then yeah. It does take place right after season 1. Um, the death of Miss Dowding, I believe, the dean of the school, and the new dean that Bloom released from last season. Even though they changed the actresses, she's in here as well. Let's get into the characters. Um, and I only know a handful. I've seen the show when I was younger. Again, it was a show that aired on 4Kids. It was a children's show. Years later, they developed the show into a TV show based off of, I don't know. I mean, they're taking a lot of elements from Harry Potter and taking a lot of elements from Vampire Diaries. But it's not bad. I don't recommend, if you like that type of stuff, then it's up your alley. The story in here, compared to the first one, I think the story is lacking. I think the story in here is a lot more lacking than the first one, because the first one is pretty much, it's the they were you were getting more invested into the school, learning about the night creatures or whatever that was going on. This one, not so much. It was not very interesting. And then when you get to the final, we get the reveal of who's behind all this stuff. It's not even the main villain that was introduced in the end of the season. It's actually something else. Which you look at it like it's not a bad twist, but it's not a twist that I don't think nobody asked for per se. If that makes any sense. I think they could have kept it to who it was supposed to be, the one who killed Miss Dowdy, the one they Bloom released, but it wasn't. Even though they eventually do wrap that up, but it's like the way. I mean, I say 7, right? Yeah, 7. I keep talking about it. I might change the goddamn rating for this. So the way, anyway, so Bloom does get her. It's weird because at first they're trying to take the one down who took down Miss Downing, but they don't know Miss Downing is no longer with us in the world. But eventually Bloom decides to team. Eventually she's like, well, maybe this one's not as bad as what we thought. And then they start to develop a relationship. And it's actually a decent relationship where I'm like, okay, well, I'm okay with this. As long as they don't kill her off. I mean, eventually they'll talk about Bloom, her killing Miss Dowding. And, oh, they talked about it all right. You would think they'll still work through it. They just won't trust each other. Well, let's say Bloom is Bloom and Bloom is not the kids for kids version. Let's say Bloom is not forgiving. Bloom is vengeful. Okay. A vengeful fairy. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just weird. They still got the little uh message in here, but it's not as bad as it was last season. So, Riven, Beatrice, and her and the other guy, they had a threesome. That is in maybe 2.5 episodes, and it's dropped real quickly. And I was like, thank the heavens, because if I see some more of this, I would drop the show. So that's not in there as much. However, when you get rid of one message, you have to add a new message because a new one comes out saying, I'm maybe gay because I keep picking bad dudes. No, honey, you're gay because you just like women. It's not because you like bad dudes, which is the stupidest thing ever. Which I looked at this like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? You're gay because you're gay. Don't blame bad dudes because that's not the issue. Because what you're saying is nobody wants you, so you're going to a woman as a secondary choice, which I think is just asinine. Eventually, you kiss somebody and you get with a boy. You're like, nah, this is not for me, and you move on. Like I swear, these writers don't know how love works or relationships. Again, it pays to be smart, but it doesn't pay to have common sense and real world interaction with people. Lord, um, the best thing I did like in here was they finally did touch upon, because I do remember in the series was Riven and Musa. They finally do have an interaction with one another, because apparently Musa's boyfriend leaves because he feels like he wants to kill what her lady, the new dean is, and Musa and Riven starts developing a relationship. I'm like, oh, thank God. So they've actually found something. And I actually like this version better than the one they had in the anime series. The anime series, as a kid, you look at it, it's like whatever. But if you really rewatch the clips, and I did rewatch some clips on YouTube, they had a toxic relationship. Holy shit, it was bad. But this one comes off like it won't be, and I think that's perfect. Because I like the characters in the show, but I hated their relationship dynamic to the point I hated them together. This one makes me want to root for them in the show if they get a new season. Um, because I could tell you right now, in the animated show they did, you really wish one of them would have died, and not because you're a person who likes death, because they really annoy the shit out of you. Like literally, like when I was just watching the clips, I was like, I'm annoyed. I'm fucking annoyed. But this one, I can give them some credit here. But overall, like I said, a seven. It's a low seven, but it's not that bad. Um, it's better than some elements are better than season one. I think the story is a lot more tighter and better in one, and I think the characters are a hell of a lot better in two than one. So, like I said, if I see growth and I see progression, I give it a pass because it's all about characters, and story, and development. They had the development and they had the characters, so that's 2 out of 3, I guess you could say. That's better than nothing. The action still is shit. I'm not even here for the action no more. I really ain't. I'm just here for some damn fairies and character development. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? And we got about 4 fairies in this motherfucker right now, so I'm pretty damn happy with that. So as always, like, subscribe, peace, have a Johnson day. Tell me if you saw the fate of the Saga, and let me know.